Hi, this is Vi from Scrappy Mania, and this is take 2 of this gift idea that I had for creating some nice thank you cards or thank you card kits to give away for Christmas. You know, I do have a lot of cardstock, a lot of pattern papers, and I thought what best would be this Christmas to give handmade gifts for my family, relatives, and friends. And this is a handmade gift that always is appreciated because a lot of times when you do get a nice little gift or a nice little gesture, you want to follow up that gesture with a thank you card. And a lot of us, if we're not crafters, we don't really have thank you cards lying around in our house, or we have to go somewhere to get these cards. So I thought it would be a nice gift idea to create a little kit that contains 20 thank you cards with envelopes. And so I wanted to create it in a nice presentable little storage container that they can put at the bedside or in a drawer, and then they know to pull it out every time they need to send a card. They can pull that out. In addition, I can always follow up refills. I can give them refills for that kit, you know, birthday and sentiments and other stuff like that. The idea for this project came about because I bought this Anna Griffin Perfect Patterns coloring cards. It's the same thing. It's a nice little box that contains 20 envelopes and cards. And I have the stamps, so I was thinking about using those to create my own little kit to give for the holidays. So let me show you how to do it. Now, the first time I did it, I actually measured the card themselves and got all the measurements and did my prototype. This was my prototype. I fit them in here, and it works fine. I even was able to fit the envelopes. I didn't realize, because I made it out of construction paper, it gave. So when I did make it out of a sturdier medium, which is cardstock, my cards fit perfect, as you can see here. But if you saw that video, you know my blooper was, this didn't fit. See, it's a little bigger. It's just not going to fit in there very well. And even if it fits in there, it's when you fold it over, see, it's not going to work. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use this one for postcards. So this will be a nice little gift to create postcards. I do have a stamp in the back that is just like a postcard stamp, and then I can put some nice images in the front. So I think that will be good. I can still use this, but I redid all the measurements for one that will fit this envelope. So this envelope, it's a little smaller than 6 inches. It's 5 3/4, so a little under 6 inches. So I went ahead and created my pattern for that. So this is my pattern. So I have to cut cardstock 10 by 6. First fold will be at 4.5. Second fold 5.5 to give that inch of spine. And then so that's how that's going to be. And then the next one's going to be 8 by 8, and I'm going to fold at the 3.5 and then 4. So it'll be like so. These are going to go in. You'll see in a second how that goes in. This is kind of my box right here. I was trying to get the fold just right. So this is my box. And if you take this box and you put it on here, it seems like it's going to work. And then if I take my envelope and I insert it here, it fits perfect. See? It's going to fit perfect. And my envelope in here is going to be perfect as well. So I think it's going to work. So let's see if I got my measurements right. So let me give you the measurements before I forget. Cut one piece of cardstock 10 by 6. Then cut 2 pieces of cardstock 8 by 8. If you want to cover it, like I did here, I cover with some nice pattern paper. It also gives it a little more substance. Then you need to cut your outside, and I made it a little smaller because, no, you know what? I should have cut 6. So I may recut this. I'll see how this works. But you can always do it 11.5 by 6. I cut it a shy under 6 inches because I want to make sure that I get it on there. But it'll be 11.5 by 5 3/4. Or if you want to cover the whole thing, 6 inches. We'll see how it comes out. And then here you're going to create 2 more panels. And these are 6 by 3.5, I believe. Let me make sure, because it's going to be what's going to cover this right here. Yeah, 3 by 3.5. So I think it's going to work. Cover this part here. Yeah, it's going to work. So it's going to be 6 by 3.5. So 2 panels of those. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to first start cutting my cardstock. And you need 3 pieces of cardstock for this. My first piece is going to be cut at 10 by 6. So 10 by 6. Okay, now let's score it. For this one, you're going to bring in your score board in, this little flip in. You flip it out to cut, you flip it in to score. This is a We Are Memory scored and trim and scoreboard. So you're going to place it right against this lip here. We're going to take our bone folder and let me make sure that I score it right, because I don't want to make any mistakes. We're going to score it at 4.5. So 4.5. And it's kind of different from the Martha Stewart one. The Martha Stewart, you start from the left side and move your way into the right. This scoreboard, you start from the right and move yourself in. So it's going to go up to here, 4.5. And then 5.5. The problem with the 5.5 is right. It's right at when the opening is. So let me go ahead and bring it over here. Okay. It fits right here. See, this is where it's opened. So it's kind of hard to get it right in there, but we got it. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and score. And I'm hoping it comes out. I hope this is not blooper number 2. Okay. So that looks good. That's my little out cover for my book. I'm going to put it aside. Now let's go ahead and take the next one. We're going to get the next piece of cardstock. This is going to be cut 8, so you're going to flip this out. Bring you down, and you're going to bring it to the 8 mark. Okay. Don't throw away these things. You can always use it for tags. By 8. Now we're going to score at 3.5. I gotta bring the lip down. 3.5 by 4 because we just want 1/2 inch. So 3.5 and then a 4. Turn it over and you're going to score at 1/2 inch and then 1 inch. Turn it over. It's a lot easier to turn over than trying to figure out the measurements over here. I guess it's easy because they're whole numbers, but I'm just gonna flip it over. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Okay. And then you're gonna fold those. As well. And let me pull, let's see, this one. Just make sure that it's going to fit. Yes. Looks like it's going to fit nicely. Yes, we got it. Okay, so now I'm going to do another one just like that. Flip this out, and you're going to cut it at 8 inches. It gets a little, you have to get used to this trimmer a little bit. And then 8 inches, it's a little different. Flip this in, so you're going to score at the, let me make sure I got it right. Yep. 3.5. And 4. Turn it over 1/2 inch and then 1 inch. Okay, hope you've seen that. Turn it over 1/2 inch. This, you know, something just using this tool is actually wearing out. I never knew of a scoring tool that would wear out like that. Weird. Okay, so then you're gonna go this way. You're gonna go ahead and really press all those seams in. And I'm going to push this over because we're done with the scoring and the cutting. Okay, well, let's bring this over here. So now we're going to go ahead and cut this. So you're going to cut, I hope you can see that, but we're going to cut this second fold line from the edge in. You're going to cut that second fold line, and actually you're going to cut the longer side. So this is the longer side. So on the longer side, which is your 4.5 or 4.25, this one you're going to go ahead and cut on your second fold line from the edge inward. You cut that off. Okay, and then you cut it right here. You cut this in. So you go into your second full line in the center, and you cut up to the second full line here. And you cut that little tab off because we don't need it. Then you're going to cut the edges off here so that way it will fit nicely on and make a nice little box. Okay, like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And then you're going to cut. So you cut from the second skull line to the edge inward. You cut that first full line from the top in, then you cut the second full line in, and then you're going to get rid of this tab right here. The top tab, you're going to keep this tab because that is what's going to help you form your box. Okay, I'm using tacky glue. You need a very good adhesive. And we're going to create the box. So you're going to take this tab, put a little bit of glue. And then you're going to bring that over like that. So see how I really want to make sure that it's right on the edge. Hold it in place just for a little bit. So it grabs on. You can use double adhesive tape. I'm very bad with that. There's no play with the double adhesive tape. So if you make a mistake, it gets stuck where it gets stuck. Don't like that. I like to have a little more time to kind of like see how I'm bringing the edges in and really make sure that I have it to where it needs to be. I prefer to hold it a little bit there. And it bonds pretty quickly, that one. Oop, I guess I put a little too much. So let's wait until this bonds. Now I'm going to put adhesive on here. I don't like it when it goes out like that. I'm going to bring this down, create our box, bring this down, create our box. Sure it's nice and even. See how nice and even that is? Turn it over, use the bone folder, anything, and just really press it down. Let's make sure it fits. Yeah, it's going to fit nicely. Okay, and let's make sure the envelopes fit before I even proceed, because that would be another disaster. It fits nicely. It fits nicely here. I think it's a win-win situation. Okay, I got my measurements right. It only took like 5 tries. You should see my whole desk is filled with, here's one that didn't come out with the measurements. Here's another one didn't come out with the measurement. Here's my math. Trying to get the measurement just right. So you got it. You benefited from all those trials and error. You really have the right measurements. So I'm glad for that. Let's go ahead and do the next one. So of course you're going to take the long side. This is the short end, so this is a 3.5 over here. This is the 4.5. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut from the edge in, the second fold line in. And then you're going to cut the first fold line up to the second fold line there. Then you're going to cut the second fold line. And you're going to get rid of this tab. Then you want to taper your tab here so it looks more professional. Like that. I don't take too much off. You're going to do the same thing over here. Cut this off. Okay. Then we're going to cut in the center here. We're going to cut this tab off. We're going to make little tabs here. Like that. And now I'm ready to put some glue. You're going to put glue on the outside of that tab. Not the inside, outside. And I forgot to tell you that when I did the first one. Put glue there and then make sure, see how I make sure it's nice and square? Hold it in place just for a little bit. I went ahead and speed up the video, but you basically do the same thing to this box that you did to the last box. Just making sure that everything just squares up pretty nicely. Okay, make sure it's nice and even and it's completely square. My husband makes fun at me because sometimes I do wood projects and I make shelves. And my shelves sometimes come a little crooked because I don't really square it as I should square it. Which for my craft room, I'm like, whatever, it's going there. It's going to be hidden with all the other stuff that I have. You won't even see the shelf. But he always criticized my shelf making. So we don't want to make these boxes like my shelves. You want to really make sure they're nice and square. And so take your time, make sure they're nice and square. And they look like they'll be it square. Good, looks good. So now let's bring this over. At this point I could have actually, before I put it together, I could have stamped the inside to make it look a little nicer. So maybe I'll do that, because the last time that I tried to put paper inside, if you saw my bloopers, it was all crinkled. See, it's not professional looking. It crinkled up because when you fold it, it actually, I didn't give room, or it made too much room. I don't know. Not good. So what I'm going to do is, this time I'm going to use a stamp. You learn from my mistakes. So I have this stamp that I love. Is from Heidi Swap. Bought it a long time ago at Michael's. Okay. It's a nice little script stamp, and I think anything with script will be perfect for this project. This one has music notes, and I'm just going to just put a little bit of ink. Hopefully it looks good. I like it. It looks very, very good. And I didn't want to make it black. I wanted a nice subtle color. I think it looks good. Okay. That is it. Let's let it dry. I don't want anything to interfere with my adhesion. I guess now that I see this, if I didn't want to put pride on paper, I can easily just stamp all the paper around it, and that would be good enough. And you know what? I'm going to stamp, let's just do this, just so it kind of has a little color. Just a little bit, and then I'm just going to put a little bit, oops, making messes here in my other box. Let's just put a little bit color on the other box. I'm going to stamp this one again. Okay, let's go ahead and clean this because I don't want any chances of, this may be a gift depending on how it comes out. So if it's going to potentially be a gift, I don't want anything to get messed up. Okay, got it. Now let's go ahead and mount this together. I'm going to put some glue on the box. Okay. And carefully, going to make sure, actually, let's make sure we really put this right, square it. Again, don't make Elvira Mosley boxes. Make nice square boxes in there. Make sure it's nice and square on there. I'm actually liking how these are coming out. Not bad at all. Let's do the same thing on this one. I like to make sure I have enough glue because I don't want any chances of it breaking apart on them. And make sure I square it. That's why I love liquid glue, because I can move it around for a little bit, reposition it until I get it just right. I think I got it just right, and then I take my little bone folder and really varnish it. There's my box. So let's go ahead and decorate it. I mean, this is done. So if you don't want to stay around with me to decorate it, that's fine. But you got your boxy here. Let's make sure we test this box. Here's my envelopes. Can it close? Would it close? Would it close? Yes, it does. Close nicely. Look, they fit perfect in there. So this concludes the box making part. Now I'm going to decorate it. Let me make sure it's all squared away. This box moved a little. I guess it's good as it gets. It moved just a little. It's not as perfect as it could be, but when you make yours perfect. Okay, so now let's go ahead. These are directional prints, so you got to make sure that this is facing up, right direction. This goes here. Okay. Let's go ahead and put some glue on here. I think these will make some wonderful and inexpensive gifts. If you're looking how to make nice little gifts and that it's not going to cost you to get a loan out just to give gifts these holidays, I think you might like to make some of these. If you have the paper, you got the cardstock, you got the stamps, and you got the glue, I think it's good enough. And I think, in hindsight, I think if I would have cut it 6 inches instead of 5 3/4, I would have liked it better. I may put some pearls, something to cover that. I think I'll do a strip of some lace or something to cover that up. So cut yours. When you cut yours, cut 6 by 11.5 and you will be fine. I just wanted to see how it looked, and to tell you the truth, I don't like it. So use your bone folder again to varnish it and bring it up. You can always bring it up and then up, like so. Okay. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Let's close it. Make sure everything gonna work. Yep. Now let's go ahead and put our paper here. And our other paper here. And I think I'm going to put a trim all around. I think that will look wonderful. Again, cut this 6 by 3.5 for this panel. I'm being very aware of the direction of my paper. So make sure you're aware if you have directional paper, like my writing. I don't want to put the writing upside down like that. The writing is down this way, writing is this way. Actually, writing is this way. Let's see. Yeah, writing is this way. So the moral of the story, stay away from directional paper. Because I don't think I did. This is upside down, but yet this is right side up. The people will notice that. See, I didn't even notice it. So I'm okay. But that's what happens when you use directional paper. You really have to be cautious about it. Let me find some trim. Let's see how it looks with some nice little trim. Oh, that looks pretty. Look at that. So let's start a bead of yeah, I should have used some hot glue for this one. And see, the good thing about this tacky glue or this fabric glue, it's made for this type of projects. It's made for fabric. But look how pretty that look. I really like it. So I'm putting up a little bit of glue on the edge so that way I can, when I put my tab in, it will stay inside. And it looks good. Let's close it. That really gave it a nice little, I like it. Really, that was a serendipity. Cutting the paper smaller than it should be. And you know, as you use glue, your hands get all that dirty, so you got to be careful not to transfer that to your project. Especially, this is cream color, so it's like I'm always scared that I'm going to put some smudge on my project. So you have to be careful with that. I will tuck that in a side in a second. And here's another project that I'm using up my papers and my ribbon. This ribbon has about 5 years old. It's actually Martha Stewart from EK Success. I got it for $1. It was on clearance, so I used to, now I resist the urge, but what I used to do is anytime I saw like ribbons and things on clearance, paper on clearance, and especially, you know, if I see the original price was $4.99, like this ribbon, and then they have it for $1, I'm like, oh man, it's a steal, and I would get a lot of it. I don't end up using it. And I think that, you know, the stores are getting wise with putting the regular price on there and then putting the sale price right next to it, because I don't know about you, but when I see that it used to be $5.99 and they have it at $1, it's like, oh my God, this is such a steal. I'm not going to be able to get this again. I know I can use it for something, so let me buy it. I know I can use it for something. It's like it's been there for 5 years. Well, I did use it for something, the card, so, and that's because I want to use up my stuff. But yeah, I guess my resolution for, since New Year's is coming around, and I know you have heard me in my other videos that I'm going to start not to buy stuff, and my resolution is to not buy stuff. And what do? Didn't I have a couple of mini hauls in my videos this year? I did. I just bought a bunch of stuff for Christmas. So Even though every year I say I'm not gonna buy stuff, I end up buying. But maybe this year I may abide by what I set my goal every year, not to buy more stuff. You know, it's fraying. So, to prevent it from fraying, let's see if I have my little torch somewhere. Oh, I just bought this little torch. It's from, look at that. Hope I don't burn it. Oh, perfect. Oops. Almost burned it. But I bought that torch to, eeks. Let's put some glue on there. I bought that torch to, I'm going to do some pouring mixed media. Acrylic pouring, and it's to torch the acrylic. So, but I don't think that was a good idea. No torching. Definitely no torching. Did I even put glue on it? I didn't. Okay, now it has glue. It has to have glue. Yep. Now, I'll leave the closure up to you. You can either use a little belly band on here with your sentiment, and then they can take it out. But for this case, I wouldn't use a belly band because it will hit my ribbon. You can use a magnet. If you use magnet, which I don't have any, you want to maybe put it under the paper first, and then you put your paper on top. Or do what Anna did, a little piece of Velcro, and I do have Velcro. I'll be back. So I found some Velcro in my sewing area. We'll cut a little piece. Now I think I'll keep this in the craft room. Hopefully it will stick very well. It will stay put. So I'm going to measure, let's see. So I just put two little markings that you hardly see it right there. And that's where I'm going to put my Velcro, make sure it's in that, between those two little markings. The reason I don't like hot glue, because I've had hot glue come off on me in my projects. But I bought this new hot glue called Gorilla Glue. It's by Gorilla Glue. So I think it might be better, but I'm not want to chance it with this. Make sure I close my bottle. And I'm not going to close it because it hasn't dried yet, but here's my project. You see, it'll close nicely. The biggest thing is to make sure that my cards will fit. And they fit perfect. Right here. Look how perfect it will fit. And then it will close nicely. Yep. Let me move this down a little more. Let's make sure. Move it down a little more. Yeah. It's going to be perfect once it dries. So I hope you liked this video and thank you for watching. Bye now.